Alright, so this is Juan and Lourdes's um, organ donation video for Mr. Salebo, March 24th. Alright, so question one. Question one. What are the pros and cons of an opt-out system? Opt-out system. Um, well, the good part about it is that everyone's automatically in there, so you're definitely not going to have a shortage of people who are going to have to donate organs. But the bad part about it is that since people are, people are pretty lazy, so if they want to get out of it, they have to go by themselves. Well, not by themselves, but they have to go to the DMV or whatever place it would be at, and they have to physically go there and say, I don't want to be an organ donor. And that might be sort of an inconvenience for some people, so they might just be too lazy to do it, and they're automatically an organ donor if they don't do it. So that's sort of the bad part about it. And then,
Okay, the other question is what are the pros and cons of opt-in system? It also goes the same way as opt-out because the people that actually wanna like actually don't want to wait that want to donate organs, like they could be satisfied with that with with the with that like with opt-in. Other like but the opt-out people would be against it because they wouldn't want to go all the way to the DMV because it's too much. It's too much to go through, and it's like a long process. It could be like a long process, and it's not that easy.
what are the pros and cons of mandate choice system? I personally think this is the best choice for sort of an organ donation sort of filtering system sort of thing. Um, the good part about this is that everyone gets their choice. There's no assuming done for this one. So you go to some government building or some government place, and while you're there, they're gonna ask you, do you want to be an organ donor or not? And you have the choice of saying yes or no. So they assume nothing until you say something. It's probably the best in terms of getting people approval, but it's probably in the middle when it comes to getting people to sign up for actual organ donation, since everyone's gonna be faced with the choice of this, whereas in something like opt-in, not everyone will be exposed to the choice.
I also agree with Juan because people don't have to get offended with what they choose, like either if you're opt in or opt in or opt out, because I feel like people would get offended because they would probably think they're they wanna they want to donate an organ or they don't want to, and what if they're like against it and they make them choose something that they do or don't want to donate the organ.
Alright, do you think an opt-out system is ethical? Why or why not? I feel it's I feel it's slightly unethical since everyone's forced to be an organ donor until they say they don't want to be, and this might go against your religion. For example, like a Christian Scientist or like a Jehovah's Witness, which are against organ donation, they might be or just not want to go to the place and say no because they feel that they won't have to, but when they die, they're gonna have to end up being an organ donor, and I don't know, it just seems unethical to me.
Yeah, I also agree because I feel like it could go both ways. I like it. It could be ethical and non-ethical because, like Juan said, that there's some religions like
The Christian Scientist.
Christian Scientists that they believe that everything is cured by prayers and not, or they like only pray so they could get
Medicine.
like they don't believe like they should have medicine, and that goes against uh, donating organs because they're donating like to feel better. And yeah.
Alright, next question. Oh, and unlike, oh, wait, never mind. Is an opt-out system an example of a nudge, an incentive, or neither? Um, it's definitely not an incentive. Well, actually, no. You can view it as an incentive, sort of. The incentive is that you won't have to be an organ donor, sort of, if you go. So, sort of like, come to the DMV, don't be an organ donor. Be an organ donor. I guess that'd be the incentive. Well, more like a disincentive almost, but yeah. So it'd be an incentive, in my opinion.
Yeah, I also agree with you.
Number four, unlikely consequence of an opt-out. Um, like I said before, maybe a Jehovah's Witness, isn't just doesn't want to go to the DMV or whatever place you'd have to go to opt out, and it turns out, oh, they're an organ donor. They died. Now they're an organ donor, and it just goes against their religion, and they can't do anything about it since it's the law. So that could be one. What's the word? Unintended consequence, I
Yeah,
guess.
I also agree because not only does it affect like their religion, but also like their family members. They're against it. They're not gonna be satisfied with what they did, like donate the organ if they are against it.
Question five: which system is the best system in your opinion? I believe the mandated choice is the best system, since it offers the most choice to people. Since everyone's going to be faced with the question at one point or another, so there's no you never got asked this. There's no sort of question of whether you got asked a question ever. And plus, there's no assuming done, like I said before. You're not assumed to be an organ donor, and you're not assumed to not be an organ donor until you're actually asked. So I feel that's definitely the best choice. It's also the most ethical as well.
Yeah, I agree with Juan that mandated choice is better because, like he said, there's no assuming if you want to donate organs or not, and you don't have to like force yourself to go like try to pick yes or no, or try to change like if you are an organ donor or not.
Um, that concludes our video from Salevo, March 24th. And, yep.